Good day, I'm Theodore Henry, and this is your JIS News for Thursday, January 25. The 3 members of the Emergency Powers Review Tribunal have been named to deal with any issues arising from the security forces' operations under the state of public emergency in St. James. The tribunal members are former president of the Jamaica Bar Association, Ian Wilkinson, Swallowfield Chapel's leader, Pastor David Henry, and retired Supreme Court Judge, Justice Lloyd Hibbert. They will be responsible for adjudicating on appeals brought by or on behalf of persons detained under the powers granted to the security forces in the state of public emergency. The tribunal, which was gazetted on Wednesday, will function through the Ministry of National Security. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Andrew Holness says government is working quickly to ensure that adequate resources are in place to preserve the human rights of persons detained under the state of public emergency in St. James. Since the start of the operation, over 200 persons have been detained. The Prime Minister says government is aware of and acting on complaints raised by human rights advocates and the families of detainees about the environment in which they are being held.
I am monitoring the reports. I've seen where there are complaints, and the government will respond to ensure that resources are available to ensure that those who are detained during the state of emergency have the minimum standards required for ensuring that we fulfill our human rights obligations.
The Prime Minister was speaking at his quarterly press briefing at Jamaica House Wednesday. And as government puts strong measures in place to curb the crime rate, the issue of corruption in the police force is also being tackled. National Security Minister Robert Montague says this is important to restoring and maintaining public trust in the Jamaica Constabulary Force, which impacts its effectiveness in investigating crimes. Among the measures being organized is an early retirement scheme, which will be implemented as an exit measure.
The new policy is with the Commissioner. He fully understands the issue of corruption and the overall impact that it has on the reputation of the organization, and has committed to begin the utilization of that important tool to hasten the transition of members of the force at all levels who are tainted by corruption or otherwise ineffective.
The Security Minister says funds have been identified through the Ministry of Finance to underwrite the activity. In other news, the Port Authority of Jamaica, PAJ, has initiated steps to recover payments made to 14 former executives without the required approvals. It stems from recommendations in a 2016 Auditor General report, which found that the 14 executives' contracts had a provision for the payment of a discretionary retirement benefit. They also received a contract gratuity of 25% of gross taxable income, but the AG says requisite approval was not sought from the Ministry of Finance prior to the payment, which breaches ministry guidelines. Prime Minister Andrew Holness updated Parliament on the issue Tuesday, pointing out that 2 of the former executives challenged the matter in the Supreme Court, but the case was dismissed on November 30 last year.
The recently retired executives have filed an appeal against the court's decision. No date has been set for the hearing of the appeal. In the circumstances, unless and until the Court of Appeal makes a different ruling, the Port Authority and the government will be guided by the decision of the Supreme Court.
The Finance and Public Service State Minister, Rudyard Spencer, is proposing a change in the way public sector wage negotiations are handled to try and expedite the process.
We have a situation where all public sector workers come up for review at the same time. That by itself makes it impossible to grant the wages that normally they would or could get. So my suggestion is to look at all the public sector workers, police, teachers, nurses, Confederation of Trade Union Workers, all these people, and select one. Because when you are finished with that one, you won't have the amount of allowances now obtained, but you will have carried the salaries to a level that is acceptable in today's Jamaica.
The minister was speaking on Monday at a forum on public sector wage negotiations hosted by the Hugh Lawson Shearer Trade Union Education Institute at the University of the West Indies. And finally, government is on the hunt for two major reggae products. A $100 million loan fund has been established for entertainment entrepreneurs to implement these products. Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett says the funds will be provided by the Exim Bank under the Tourism Small Business Loan Facility.
For us, tourism is not just about working at a hotel. For us, it's about innovation. For us, it's about adding value. For us, it's about entrepreneurship. But a product is a far more sustainable activity which has with it an economic sustainability quotient built in with employment.
Minister Bartlett was speaking Monday night at the launch of February's Reggae Month activities. He also revealed that the Tourism Enhancement Fund will be spearheading the construction of an entertainment center in Montego Bay. $50 million will be set aside during the next fiscal year for the design of the center, which is to be completed by the year 2020. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Theodore Henry. Thanks for watching.